Let me share another verse that has meant an awful lot to me in my life. It is Psalm 90, verse 12. The psalmist writes, actually Moses, it's the oldest psalm in the book of Psalms. Moses writes, "So teach us to number our days, that we might present to you a heart of wisdom." Think of the impact of this verse. So teach us, as older people, to measure the value of our days. I'm 67. I've walked with Jesus for 60 years. I've had many experiences. The psalmist would say, Moses would say, think back on those years and reflect on where you're at, what God has taught you, the values you have in your life, the goals you have, and what do they mean for the next several decades? If God gives me a number of decades to live for Him, and it's all dependent on His grace and goodness to us, how many days He gives us or what we'll experience in those days, but can we value them and ask God, teach me to value these years, all that I've had, all that's coming, for all of your purposes, that we may present to you a heart of wisdom. So for people in their 70s and 80s and 90s, however many years we have, we want to live every one of those years with incredible wisdom and skill because God has entrusted them to us. There's a calligraphy that I have in my office of that verse for, I don't know how many years now, 40 years now. I think of this verse almost every day. It's one of my prayers. So teach me, O God, to number my years, to number my days, so that I would present to you, O God, a heart of wisdom. It's one of the things I'm doing right now in my life. I sense God wanted us to launch this ministry called Finishing Well Ministries. Take a step out in faith. Trust God for its development. Trust God to follow Him in it. Trust God for a board to develop and give us wisdom and skill in mentoring and maximizing the impact of an older generation for the kingdom of God. And I would submit to you, this is all in Psalm 90, verse 12. So let's live it out in our lives. Do it with me.